Hi folks, we're live. This is Monday, December 2nd, 2019. Paul had a question. We'll deal with that right away. Ellie's going to join me. Larry has been, he caught something a week ago. He seemed to be recovering and had a bad relapse over the weekend. So I don't know whether it's bacterial or viral, but they are doing everything they can for him to keep him going. And I put up Larry's PayPal account here on the video today. He needs help. We've had, it's so grateful, so very, very grateful for the people who donated over the weekend. Folks, you know, he needs his treatment every day. I don't know exactly what he's been going through, but it's been very, very rough for him recently, and we need to keep him going, because even though we don't and aren't allowed to know exactly what he's doing, the fact that he names names here means he really does know what's going on, and there's a reason he knows and has access. He has, you know, when he worked for Bill Clinton, when he was governor of Arkansas, and, you know, worked hard to get Bill Clinton impeached, thought they had the votes, and then one of the senators flipped because his wife was given a very nice, big six-figure job with the Park Service, and so he abstained. And Clinton had, I think, my understanding is Clinton promised Gore that he would help him win after Clinton was done with his second term if Gore would vote to keep him in. And then, of course, Clinton didn't help Gore, and that caused a lot of bad blood between them. But, you know, Larry used to be, he's probably the only one who has given the orientation speeches to both houses. And, you know, as with his work with people in government through the years, with his work with the military and the things that he did before he started working with Bill Clinton in Arkansas, he has made a lot of contacts all over the world, and people in very high places know him and know what he can do and are very afraid. And so we can't know what he's doing, because he knows things, and people would just as soon he go away. And I'm sure that I can't imagine how tough his life must be with people who would like to have him step aside and not be here. I don't know, Paul, if I can answer your question about Mike Bloomberg, but if you want to go ahead and ask it, I can see if maybe I've been told anything about that. But if I haven't, then we'll just have to save it for when Larry's back. Folks, I'm serious that we do need to help Larry get back on with us and keep him here. And of course, tomorrow will be his program with Jason at this hour, if he's able to, you know, if he's able to get back. With the hearing starting in Nadler's committee, the Judicial Committee, on Wednesday, I'm not aware of what Larry's doing. I've gotten one text from him early this morning saying that he was resting and needed to rest, and I don't know if he's done any work today or not. He certainly needs time to recover. Ellie was going to join me. I don't know where she is. I will have to send her a text pretty soon, but I thought we would follow up. I talked to Ellie about this, and I thought we'd follow up here she is. I'll have to tell her guys is not connected. Oh, folks, I've got to unplug my, can you guys hear my fireplace fan? Because if it's too loud, it might interfere if I have to call her. Good, here, she figured. Hey, Ellie.
Oh, and I'm not.
Yeah, you're on now.
My camera. Oops.
Yeah, you've got her on camera. Here, she can get hey, Ellie.
Oh, and I'm
You're on now.
my camera.
You need to turn. I don't know what's happening. Hey, Ellie. You on now.
My camera.
You need to turn. I don't know what's happening. Hey, Ellie. You on now.
Oh, I can't hear you.
You need to turn. I don't know what's happening. Hey, Ellie. You on now. I'm not sure what to do. We got
I'm getting a lot of feedback, Mary Ellen. I'm getting a lot of feedback, Mary Ellen.
I'm so sorry. Speaker. Yay, what'd you do? Oh, now I can't hear you.
Oh no. Okay, how's that?
Yay, what'd you do?
Oh,
now I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Okay, how's that?
Yay, what'd you do?
Now
I can't hear you. I'm gonna call her and bring her in on the cell phone. And thanks, Paul, for letting me know. I'm so sorry. I just love how we're just homegrown, doing our best to try and make it happen, and just having a problem. Is there a way to handle the feedback that's coming through from you, Ellie? Just having a problem. Is there a way to handle the feedback? I'm going to call her and we'll see if we can get her on that way. Is there a way to way down here, so I don't know if you can even hear me. Is there a way call her and see.
hello. Hello.
There we go.
Hello.
Okay, so I've got you on speakerphone, so we're gonna have to do it this way.
My camera's like way out of whack from Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
all right. So we've got you on. I've got you on the speakerphone. So if you turn your leave your camera on so we can see you.
Okay.
But, we'll just do it through the phone. And so turn your put your whatever on mute, and we'll just do it through the phone. Whew.
Okay, we got it.
That was fun. That was fun. I'm so sorry, folks. Very, very sorry. And I don't know how to edit. That's how green I am to doing this. So if I could edit it out, I would do it. But I don't know how. If somebody knows, you can help me. We were talking on Friday about stress, dealing with stress, dealing with finding contentment and peace. And we read a lot of scripture with that. And we were talking about stress relief. I wanted to do a little follow-up with a few other suggestions. And if anybody has any suggestions on things you can do to relieve stress, especially during the holidays, feel free to type it in, and I will read what you've said. I just wanted to go back to Philippians 2 that says, let this mind be in you that is also in Christ Jesus. And at this stressful time, as we face December and all the additional things that it brings, just focusing on Christ and his. Well, I'm going to also read 2 Corinthians 10, verse 5. It says, take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. And that goes along with Philippians 2, I think, verse 10, where it says, let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus. So given that, some things we talked on Friday about gratitude. Some other things that are really important during December is your diet. Make sure you are eating healthy. We at Christmas have so much sugar thrown at us, and not just thrown at us, but what we enjoy. Um, there's sugar can do a lot of bad things to your body, and if you balance your sugar intake with protein, whether it be with nuts or meat or eggs, um, cheese, milk products have a lot of lactose in it, so that may or may not be good. It'll also, the milk products can cause a lot of uh, respiratory nasal issues. Paul relieves stress with prayer and curling up with the Bible or a good book. That is incredible, and that's one of my stress reliefs too, as well. I was going to talk about the importance of prayer, and it's a little hard to fast during this holiday, but skipping a meal for fasting for your prayer time can help, or it may not. It may just put more pressure on you, more stress on your body. But taking care of yourself is really important. Somebody mentioned, yes, eating badly can cause your nerves and body stress, definitely. Exercise is really important. Whether you're walking, whether you're jogging in place, whether you are going for a hike, going to the gym, but doing something in the way of exercise is always good. And that also helps with depression that comes when we have too much sugar going on and too much stress in our lives. One of the things I will mention, I'm not going to go into the details. If you want to see David Heavener, it's Heaven with an ER at the end, David Heavener on YouTube. He did a program, trying to think, it was the end of October, beginning of November, on yoga and how the poses give the demonic entrance and a welcome into your life, so that it really is not a good thing to be involved in yoga, because it comes out of Hinduism. And of course, Hinduism is very much an idol worshiping religion. And there are two things that God absolutely hates. It's when you have any other gods besides him, and witchcraft. Those are the things that God hates more than anything else. And so you don't want to be practicing things that are associated with idolatry and witchcraft, which yoga definitely is. And so if you want to, we could certainly do some research on that. But I thought that the program David Heavener did a few weeks ago, I can't remember, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, less than 6 weeks ago, is really good. Teresa uses puzzles. Normal eating and sleeping habits is really important. The Pfizer report, the 6th to the 11th, will be coming out. So next week, middle of next week. Somebody last Friday suggested pretty scenery, and going near water, so that you hear. If you're with near moving water, especially the ocean, but I think even a lake where you've got a lot of movement, it changes the ions in the air, and that really is healing to the body. You can also get an ionizer for your home that helps to change the ionic atmosphere. That is very good. The negative ions that are there with the water and air moving is really healthy for your body. Laughter and play, being around children and grandchildren, if you can, really enjoy participating with them and interacting with them. Hugs and cuddles. Would Larry be interested in what Pius IX said about socialism? I think he knows quite a bit about socialism, but shoot it at me and I'll pass it on. That'd be great. Oceans, palm trees, serene music, and prayer. That's awesome, Tanya. Absolutely. My favorite place to relax is the beach, and it will be hard to be moving more inland because I haven't.
Mary Ellen?
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned a little bit on yoga,
And since it's Hinduism, that's one of the things I learned when studying, you know, all the different religions. And the thing with yoga is it starts off with the exercise. And then they want you to meditate. So they want you to open your mind and empty your mind. And it goes on with that. And then as you get deeper into your yoga, then they want you to start the prayers. And the prayers to begin with aren't so bad. But then when you get into what they call their more of a expertise in your yoga and all that is when they want you to start saying the Hindu prayers. But to me, when I was looking into it, you know, when you open your mind up and empty it, that's when it's the danger. You know, even the Lord doesn't ask you to empty your mind for the prayer and to meditate. You know, he asks you to pray. And I think that's, you know, kind of what you were talking about.
You know, Psalm 1 talks about meditation, but there's a big difference between the meditation that a Christian is to practice and the meditation of the New Age.
Mhm.
The New Age, where you're right, the repetition of a word, those kinds of things are that that's the emptying of the mind that you just talked about. That can be very dangerous.
Mhm. Yes.
Spiritually dangerous. And you know, I think there's a real ignorance in this country about this topic, and I wish more pastors dealt with it, because you know, my dad was a pastor, and he addressed this when I was a teenager, and I just so appreciate that he didn't shy away from talking about witchcraft and other religions, and preach through keeping your focus on what scripture says rather than, you know, going off on these other things. So somebody mentioned music, and that's an incredible thing. Music that de-stresses. One of the things I want to recommend is that you really pay attention to being patient this month. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your family. Be patient with people at work. Be patient with the public. Everybody has increased stress during December. And, you know, people who want things that they can't have, that expectation of, you know, wishing you could do more can cause stress. Wanting to do, you know, more for your family than you realize. I read a story this morning. I read it a few weeks ago. There was a young boy who wanted to get a rifle for Christmas, and he probably lived, you know, maybe in an Appalachian style home, and he was really disappointed that his rifle was not coming. It didn't seem like his folks had enough to be able to do that. And it was time for Bible reading, which was their habit in the evening. And instead of getting the Bible, his dad went outside. He was outside for quite a while, and then called the boy to come out and help chop wood and load the wagon up with wood, and put some bags of things into the wagon. And they went several miles through, you know, high snowfall, and went to the home of a widow and her children. They had run out of firewood. The house was drafty. They had almost no food. And they came in with, you know, a Christmas dinner, firewood enough to keep them through at least for a month. He promised to bring them more later. Anyhow, when this boy saw this family who had absolutely nothing, saw their incredible appreciation for what they did, he realized that he had way more than he had understood with what he had at home with his family. And he looks back at that as his most impressive Christmas ever, because of the lesson he learned in gratitude. And we can always find somebody who has more than we do, and we can nearly always find somebody who has less. And so the focus on maintaining an attitude of gratitude and contentment is really important. Let's see, a couple other things. Count to 10 before you open your mouth, or count backwards from 100 if you're really stressed out and need a little extra help to take some time to calm. Do some deep breathing. It doesn't have to be the yoga breathing, just breathing deeply and filling your lungs with extra oxygen to oxygenate your body is really, really good. We hear a lot on alternative media, a lot of scary doom and gloom kinds of stories about what may be coming and how soon it may or may not happen. And we need to be careful about feeding our mind with those kinds of stories right now. Preparedness for emergencies is always wise. Being aware of what could be coming at us so that you can be prepared as much as possible is always wise. But we need to be careful about what we allow into our mind that's going to increase our stress level. So one of the things I asked Ellie to talk about, I thought we could talk about some situations that Christmas will escalate stress. If you are living in a situation where you're dealing with something chronic that is very stressful because of a chronic issue, we need to be aware that in December, that's just going to be maximized. So finding ways to deal with stress is going to be very important. Now, whether that stress is coming from an abusive relationship, learning to set limits on the abuser so that you don't, it's important to know you don't have to take abuse, no matter who it is. Now, the consequences of saying no can be very dangerous and can be very hard to face. When you're financially dependent on somebody who's abusing you, it can create a lot of issues. And if you don't have a place to go that's safe, then you need to do things that will help to protect you and family, children, if necessary. And then I had children with special needs, and that was always a nonstop stress because it was really important with a big family to make sure that there was no danger. I had a child that wanted to help in the kitchen. She loved helping in the kitchen, but she had no sense of danger, no sense of reality or awareness, and she would grab a sharp knife and spin around. So we all had to learn to keep an ever vigilant eye on her and be able to move quickly to jump out of the way if she was spinning around with a butcher knife. So that people go through some pretty incredible stresses sometimes on a daily basis, and then you throw Christmas in the mix on that, and our tempers can flare very quickly during December. I wanted Ellie to talk about, she knows a lot about chronic medical issues, and so I wanted to give her a chance to talk about dealing with those kinds of stresses.
Yes, I have multiple sclerosis, and a lot of the neurological diseases do have a problem with stress because it is the nerves. And so, even if you have a neurological problem, it don't necessarily mean it's MS. There's a wide range of neurological diseases out there. And every one of them, you find out that just stress can send you over the top. And it does me. If I have stress and I'm busy and then if something happens out of the blue, it really, after it can almost bedridden me for a day or two.
Ellie, one sec. Turn the volume off on your computer, and because we've got feedback going on again. I'm getting it through the computer and through. Or
I think I have one.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just double check. Most of the time it was okay.
It's off.
Okay, sounds good.
So, so really with the neurological, a lot of them really do have that. And so what I have to do is when it comes to the holidays, I have to really pace myself out because it takes me about 2 days just to put the Christmas tree up. And I can't walk well. And I should use a wheelchair in the stores, but I don't just because I don't like to. And I don't use a cane just because I don't like to, but, and it causes stress because when I walk, I stagger and then you start hearing the comments. And so then I hold on to the basket. And then by the time I get out of the store, I'm pretty frustrated. And just frustration can set me, get home from shopping and I have to rest or sometimes even take a nap. And that means having my grandkids put my groceries away. And, so it goes from just a little bit of being upset to where something major happens in your life. It can almost react the same way for what it does to your nerves because, we don't know everything about the nerves and what it causes. But like with my disease, I mean, it just really can put me down. And so it does help for, even the neurologists will tell you to eat better and relax more, find things that will relax you, stay away from, the sugars, like you said. Now, see, with MS, there is a huge vitamin D deficiency. And see, mine is runs in between 5 and 30. And so 5 is really unheard of. That's like none in your system. So they encourage me to drink milk. But I'm like really horrible with sugar stuff. So when he says milk, I think ice cream and eggnog. And I know those are no-nos. But I just, everybody knows I like my cookies and I like my ice cream. Really, it's not helping. And so I do have to take vitamin D. And one of the things that has come out recently with neurological issues is the vitamin D must have vitamin K for it to absorb into your system. Okay. And then vitamin B12 also helps it. But they say vitamin B12 helps with a little bit of your stress, is what I've heard from my new neurologist. And she says, so B12 would be really good for you to help your nerves out a little bit more. And see, I also have neuropathy. So I'm, almost double whammied on, a little bit of stress will make my legs feel like I'm on fire half the night. And there's just nothing you can do for it besides trying different medicines. So really, when you have a neurological disorder like I do, you have to really watch the stress. And, I just, I'm getting to where I find out, like with the news, if I just wait 24 hours, the truth will come out. Well, I told my granddaughter, I said, she goes, well, you mad because she did something? And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to wait 24 hours and then I'm going to yell at you. And she goes, well, then I won't know what I did. And I said, well, oh, don't worry, I'll remind you. So, but yeah, you have to kind of put it off. You got to relax because if you blow your top, with some of these illnesses, even heart disease, my mom and dad had it really bad. And, when she got upset, it really sent her for a loop. And, it seemed like she would have to, lay down and take a nap. And, because of the stress. So there is, because you get that blood pumping and, it raises your blood pressure and it's just not good for you. And then when it comes back down, then you have the fall of feeling that tired. And a lot of people don't realize that with heart problems, and maybe some out there might think about it and say, yeah, I do feel that way. after I get mad. So, but that's part of my MS. Now I have MS, and my dad had it, and my sister Beth has it. We have a few others in the family, but they probably don't want me saying it, so I won't. But we had my neurologist was the same as my dad's, and they looked into it through Berkeley, and this was Dr. Vijayan out of Sacramento, and he found out that it was genetic and it was hereditary, and so we were one of the families that did prove that. And I love helping people with MS. I really do. I was like a counselor for a while with MS Watch. And a lot of people don't realize that the MSAA will help you get like cooling suits, cooling cloths, some of the space suits they have. They also help you to get medications that you need. And MSAA is just wonderful for what they do for people. And I even think they do some neurological diseases. So even if you got, not really MS, you might, look at their organization, maybe give them a call and see if maybe they can help with another neurological issue. And they, what a lot of people don't realize is the Red Cross, they will either give you or they help you to get like crutches and walkers and wheelchairs. Because sometimes they have them stored that people give to them. You just have to check with your local chapter. And they also let you use their pool facilities. Now, the only problem with them, they have heated pools. And with MS, you can't do the hot water. Some can do the hot water, some can't do the cold. Me, I can't do the hot because it paralyzes me. Like a bathtub, I cannot take a bath. I got to take showers because if I get in the tub, I can't get back out. And I'm just like a dead fish to get out. So, there's no getting in the bathtub for me. So is there, it's something everybody needs to look at with some of these diseases through the Christmas time. And, slow down, take your time. And when you feel stressed, those simple little things that we come up with, and exercise. And, people can't get out and walk with MS a whole bunch. But, you can sit in the chair and you can lift your knees up, which is like crunches. You can bend down a few times. And I've learned this through physical therapy. Like at the kitchen sink when you do dishes, bend down and then pull yourself back up. You do that a few times, and that's exercising, even if you can't do very much. And even if you have to like walk up and down your hallway a few times, it's almost the same as getting out and walking. So, these are just simple things that people can do to get through the stresses of the holidays. Because, that's how I do off my steam. I go walk up and down my hall a few times and say some bad words, but we won't go there. But see, I'm a person that'll say kiss my grits, I'm an old Flo kind of fan. And I'll say stuff like that, Heck, Karen knows. Karen knows I'll say stuff like that. She's known me a long time. And she's watching, so. And she'll tell you, boy, when I lose my temper, I lose my temper. But then I sit down for a while.
Well, that's a good thing. When you do lose your temper, is you have to have strategies for dealing with the aftermath, both in your own attitude and what it does to you emotionally, as well as and physically with losing it, and what it does to others. So have to be ready to apologize if necessary. I want to just say, I know we are normally a political channel, and that is normally what we have here with Larry, and that is normally what we're going to have when Ellie comes on. But because it's the beginning of December and we had started talking about stress during this month, I thought it would be a good idea to just say a little more today. I'm sorry Larry isn't with us today. He is, I don't know if he's working. I've only gotten one email or text message from him this morning, and then I said, do you want me to have Ellie sub for you today? And he responded yes. So those are the two emails or text messages that I've gotten from him today.
If they have questions on politics or anything for today, I can, pretty much answer. I do all around news at our page.
Yep. Who's trying to call? Oh, plumbing company. Larry definitely needs some help to stay in the fight. And with as I said at the top of the show, with what's going on with Nadler's committee starting Wednesday, Larry's going to need some help to be able to do whatever he might be able to do to get in the mix of that.
Wednesday, Mary Ellen, they have constitutionalists coming in to explain what an impeachment is. The thing I really don't like about that is they're not doing this hearing for us, the American people, to vote. They are talking to the Senate. Now, the Senate, they know what these laws are. Every one of them, because they're sitting there. And even if they had Robert sitting in, he knows the Constitution. This is just another delay of nonsense. And there's no sense in this. And there's no, the way the justice system works, you don't explain to the judge how to do his job is your opening. And this would be kind of like their opening. And this is just another thing, I think they called it crazy Nadler tactics that he wants to do, because he never would have allowed that during the impeachment of Bill Clinton when he was fighting for Bill Clinton. He wanted it by the book. And now he's already starting this, not even following the book.
No, they've been, they're trying to tie what they're doing into the Constitution, and to hear them talk about how it's constitutional is just, it's just a joke, because they're setting historical precedent with what they're doing on their own, totally not connected to, they're just using very old historical precedent setting. I can't remember the word Larry used about it. Anyhow, it's historical. It's not legal, and there's nothing legal and lawful or constitutional about what they have been doing, and but it is setting precedent. So it's pretty crazy what they're trying to do.
Well, that and Mary Ellen, that today it was mentioned that Trump isn't going to testify, and because of NATO, he has talks with NATO. And, they knew back in, I believe it's May or June, when they find out the dates for NATO. So they knew about this. And, of course, they didn't want to wait. They just want to do it this week when they knew he couldn't be there. And, of course, NATO is far more important than this right now. The president has got to keep moving along and running our country. He don't have time to go play patty cake with Nadler.
Yeah, it's they're trying to, it's just very murky what's going on and not right. And just remember, when you hear what the Democrats are saying, and remember, the more detail they give in their accusations, the more they are revealing about themselves.
And Shifty Shift, he is writing the narrative for this. And when I heard narrative, I heard parody again. He is going to write out a narrative of charges. Now, normally they would present the charges, not write a narrative of charges. So, you know, we're going to get another story of, you know, Alice in Wonderland again. And it's going to be false information. And it's only to get American people to hear the wrong thing. He is so good at this. He's done this for a very long time. He used to do it to his own state. When he wanted to get his way and he wanted to get something passed, or he went against another candidate, he did this. He would write these little parodies and put them down. And all of it's false. And, you know, because I was from California, so, and not only that, but I like to look back and see, you know, what they've said before compared to what they say now, because it's so different.
Yeah, it's amazing how they flip-flop based on what they're trying to do. So, with that, folks, I'm going to wrap it up. I've got a lot that I need to get back to, and since Larry's not here, please remember he needs help. And be a prayer for our president's safety as he is speaking at NATO, and with what he's doing. There is I heard Jay Sekulow, who is one of Trump's lawyers, I saw a video of Jay Sekulow last night announcing that he was going to be at the International Criminal Court in The Hague today. So I'm sure whoever he is standing up for, I didn't listen to it long enough to know who he was going to be defending, but I'm sure whatever he's doing is really important as well. So if anybody can do anything to help Larry today, please do. I'm not aware that he's gotten any money yet today, and this can be extremely dangerous for him. When he is in recovery mode, the last thing he needs is a major setback. So if anybody can donate, you know, he's going to need several $100s, but believe me, if we each pitch in a little bit, it'll help. And every little bit, whatever your amount is, added together will be helpful. And it's an encouragement to him to know you're thinking of him. So with that, I'm going to just remind you, Larry's PayPal account is nicholslive@aol.com. There is a link at nicholslive.com. I'm going to show you the t-shirt again. I'll just show you the front, because the back is just going just bigger. Yeah, what's happening? So that's not working. Let's try the back. Color is just totally faded out. And there you go. Never Socialism. You can get it with or without the Nichols Army underneath the banner. You can order that at nicholslive.com. There is a link to there's a on YouTube. There's a demo for Larry's CD. It's really beautiful. So you can order his CD. I don't know what I did with 28 Years to Nowhere. I was going to show that again, and I don't know where I put it. Larry's autobiography that describes his life in politics from the time he and Bill Clinton parted ways, and it describes why. And then that it goes all the way his life in politics until the presidential election in 2016, and what our team did. It describes some of the things that our team did. So it's good reading. People find it hard to put down. So Deb, the fact that it will never end, you know, we are at a point now where the next generation is stepping up. James Comey's daughter being a prosecuting attorney in the Southern District of New York. They're trying to get people prepared for Chelsea Clinton entering politics. Look at what Joe Biden and Paul Pelosi are doing, and you know what they're involved in, and the evil that's coming out. You know, these are the next ones coming up to be the leaders of our country, and the amount of wickedness and graft, and yes, Jane, Luciferians. It's really we are in a fight between good and evil, and I will close by just saying it really is important that you choose which side you're on, because the day is coming when we will have to choose which side we are on. And it is better to think about it ahead of time, because if you wait till the last minute to make your decision, you may not make the right choice. I remember when Columbine happened, having a discussion with a high schooler, and she said, I wonder what I would do in a situation like that. And my answer to her was, you need to know now what you will do in a situation like that. You need to think about situations like that and make your decision now for what you will do. Because if you don't decide now and are prepared to pay whatever price is necessary, then you won't. You'll take the easy way out, and you could end up making the wrong choice as far as your eternal consequences. So,
my brother is on tonight on Investigator News. So those that want to go over and watch him, he's pretty good. He did an hour last night, which surprised me. But yeah, he's on tonight. I think at it would be let's see, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I believe.
That's 8 Central.
Yeah.
Okay. I watched a video that Ellie put up on beautiful gingerbread houses. So
yes, I made that this morning. And then I did the strange places this morning too.
Oh, I didn't see that one. That didn't come
Yeah,
up.
I make all my own videos like that, and
Yeah.
I just enjoy doing them.
She has a video too on Larry. It's a 1:40 video on the things that Larry has done and Larry has accomplished, and using it as a fundraiser. So look for that on YouTube and share it. We'd appreciate it. Her YouTube is Investigators News. Both words are plural. Investigators News. She's on Facebook, Investigators News. So if you'd like to follow her, that's great too. And with that, do you have anything more to add? Otherwise, I'll say.
No, that's it. Just everybody, I know it's a rough time and it's going to get harder the closer to the holidays, but just give what you can to Larry and help him out.
Yeah. Karen, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. So it'd be 9 in Pennsylvania. Thanks a lot for being here. And I know we departed from what we normally do, but yeah, Rindy's reminding us that if you order a women's size t-shirt, I don't think you get the link for the women's sizes. We'll have to get you in touch with Mark to be able to do that. But they do run a size smaller than what you would expect. So order up. If you're getting women's sizes, order up a size for yourself on the t-shirt. With that, we'll say goodbye. Thanks for being here, and pray that Larry can come back. His plan is to be with Jason at this time, and then with us afterwards if he can. But given how difficult it was for him to talk yesterday, he's got to have some healing going on before he can say too much. So pray for him to have the strength to get back in the game in the fight, not the game. It's not a game. This is not a game what we're dealing with. And one of the things I didn't add, I listened to a video this morning by Perry Stone. He was talking about prayer, and it was a video on intercession. And he made a comment that really stuck in my mind with this, because I've been thinking over the weekend about stress since we did the program Friday. And he was saying that there are times when you are carrying a heavy burden, and it is appropriate to feel that heaviness. And being serious about it is appropriate, and it's okay. Do your best to find ways to cope so that it doesn't have to be a long-term burden, but there are times when life is just really, really tough, and we have to find ways to deal with it. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for being here. God bless you. We'll be here after Larry's program with Jason. If the program with Jason is canceled, we will be here at the regular time. And we'll keep things going as long as we can until Larry can come back. And, hopefully he'll be back tomorrow, but we'll see. Keep praying for him and keep donating, folks. It's really important. He is really important to our freedom. Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Allie.
Bye-bye.
Hang on, you can stay there.
Okay.
We're off. I'm just going